It's Pro Day, plus Brent Venables and Nagy speak. We'll talk about all that and more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. That's Coop. I'm your boy Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to while you're here. Please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So, on today's episode of the Sooner or Later Sports Show with Jay and Coop, we got some very interesting topics to dive into, like the Spring Media Day. Brent Venables said some stuff that pretty big deal. Jim Nagy joins in and has some conversations as well. And then the newcomers dropped a few nuggets that should get you all excited for spring ball. Then we'll wrap things up talking about the Pro Day as well as all of the numbers that have dropped. Coop, happy Thursday, man. You doing all right?
It's just a pivot on a pivot, right? So went from Wednesday to Thursday, from 6 to 5:30. But we got soccer. We both got soccer stuff tonight, and so that's why the little pivot.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to be parents. You're a parent when you're moving things around for soccer, and you're not the one playing. I'm too old to be playing soccer anyway. My knees don't like that. But it's funny. I'm looking on here. OU just dropped a built for this video with Deion Burks running a route. That dude is chiseled. I think it should be illegal for him to be that yoked. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. But he also put up some ridiculous testing numbers, and we'll look at those. But earlier this week, it began. Spring Media Day was on Monday. Brent Venables got up there. Nagy got up there. I saw interviews with Deland McCullough, as well as Jason Witten and Lamar Morgan. All of them had interviews. The beat, shout out to the OU beat. Got to give them mad props. They just makes it so easy for everybody. They get all these interviews and have all these conversations. All you got to do is sit there on your couch, listen, and learn. So appreciate them being there at all times, making it happen. Then you had all the newcomers also get to talk. You get to hear from the freshman class as well as the transfer class, from a Rocky Beers all the way to a Jonathan Hatton, right? You got to hear from Trell Harris going all the way over to Jasir Rogers. So you got a very big-time mix and plethora of guys. And I wanted to start with Brent Venables and how bringing in 40 players is not easy, especially 22 freshmen, 18 transfers, and you're now getting them all meshed in. But winter workouts, it sounds like some players were making names for themselves. You had people that stood out. We'll talk about the standouts, but the biggest thing Brent Venables brought up to me was talking about wanting to be a speed school, focus on acceleration and deceleration, doing all of that at every position. His focus is for them to play as fast as we saw them play last season, if not more. I'm not going to lie, man. That got me kind of excited that is truly a focal point.
Yeah. You've had kind of a stop and go, right? Year one with Levy, you try to go a little bit faster. Obviously, DG knew a little bit more about the way to manage, Levy's system. Defense wasn't quite there yet, so you needed a more explosive offense. And we've seen things slow down the better the defense got. Well, now he's talked about the complementary football, special teams, obviously coaching, defense, offense. And it's kind of been not the case for the past couple of years, to where you saw every single detail microscoped on defense, but then offense, you're looking at it and you're going, I see quite a bit of things that we should probably talk about there, and it hasn't been, fun. Well, I think that they look at the guys that they brought in. They have the opportunity to really go, all right, this is year 2. We're going to have some progression here. We expect the defense to be good again. Let's ramp it up. And so
yeah,
my take is he feels more confident that they can. And if you don't, that doesn't resonate with you, I think that you need to get on board. We're getting the water, as RDS says here, because Brent Venables has some confidence in here in the offense, and he sees the opportunity. And so I think that we're going to see, a little bit more of an entertaining offense rather than
Yeah.
please God, Satania, make a big play for us.
I know, right? You're not really just leaning in on one person doing all that for you. He mentioned 24 statistics improved in 24 categories last season on offense. And even though that is a plus, it's not the standard. Still got ways to go, which I appreciate that he pointed out. No, it's good that we're showing incremental improvement. We need to improve more. That's the focus. We were tops in the country in red zone efficiency because we scored every time we got in the red zone, but we didn't get there as often as we should have. We were like 100th in the country and actually getting to the red zone. So when we got there, we made it happen. We just need to get there more. Now, I've said this before. I don't have a problem with us winning games 23-3 or 23-10. I love double-digit wins. I just would prefer us to hold teams under 10 points if possible. That will warm my heart. But that's on the defensive side. Offensively, though, he even talked about how pathetic the run game was last year over there with Gabe and Teddy. He didn't mince any of his words. He called out everybody as needed. And again, I appreciate that from our fearless leader. But from there, their focal point now was the additional attention to details. And Coop, that was the one thing I think that gave most people their questions about BV. It was really less about can he really do it, but more of a can he get the details down to stop getting self-inflicted wounds in the foot on a regular basis?
There's improvement. There's been improvement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You saw all these improvements over the last few years, but that was the thing that so many people were concerned the most about BV was the little things, time management, like I said, self-inflicted wounds, penalties, discipline. But we saw nothing but improvements over and over, which I appreciate.
Well, and 2 years ago, if you got a false start or a holding call, you were like, let's just go ahead and punt. Like the only reason why the offense was out there was to make the clock go. And that's why you saw a lot of run to make the clock go. You didn't want to put the ball up in the air. Nope. But, with this last comment here, you steadily raise the floor, you raise the ceiling. And that's actually what has happened is if you're raising the floor, but the ceiling's not going up, then, your margins just get smaller. But now, I don't think Brent Venables is blind. I think that I would almost, equivalent it to, is that a word? Describe it as this is like, as a manager during COVID, you're dealing with all these issues, with all these employee issues, and everybody's like, hey, this is really hard. Like people don't want to buy, people are nervous, people don't know what's going on. So they're kind of hesitant. And if you were to go, I understand that. That's cool. I'll accept that too. Let's, we'll just try to make it together. You say that, and then all of a sudden everybody goes, oh, okay, I can relax a little bit because there's margin for error built in. And it's hard for Brent Venables to not be that way because, I think he sees a lot of the things. And if you give in to some of the negativity, then that's difficult to go. But listen, you get the schedule that we got, and then you have the record that we ended up with. And I still say to this day, if you gave that to everybody at the beginning of the year and said, this will be our record, 99 out of 100 Sooner fans would have been like, I'm in, let's go. I'm for it, especially after that 6 and 7 year.
I was called a liar when I said that we was going to win 10 games this past season. So, yeah, that schedule had everybody afraid. And this year's should be a lot better in comparison. So a lot of new coaches, a lot of new quarterbacks, kind of like last year, truth be told. Yeah. So that should help us, especially because we're bringing back one of the more experienced ones. And speaking of experience, Brent Venables talked about returning production. 50% of its tackles and sacks are back. 80% of interceptions are returning. So returning production on defense looks good. Offensive, 90%, of course, are rushing. So that means we've got all our running backs, Mateer, Blaylock, as well as X-Rob. They're all back. 95% of the passing yards, of course, because Mateer is here, and you still bought all your quarterbacks stayed. Whit Newbauer, same thing with Jet New. So you still got all your backups. A second season with everybody in this system, pretty big deal. Then, of course, Satania. Now, then you go into the newcomers, and I think talking about them is probably where we're going to go ahead and transition in perfectly. Is Trail Harris talked about why he came here. So thank y'all, of course, for pulling up. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Trail Harris was talking about, and a lot of the players talked about why they came to Oklahoma and why they picked Oklahoma. And I'm going to be honest. This is what I was hoping I would hear. Called out John. Said Mateer. Yeah. Trail said, watch the tape. I want to come play with him. I want him to be my quarterback. I want him to throw me the ball. And that's a big deal to me. I mean, Parker Livingstone talked about, which I still think it's funny that, so many people took it as him saying, oh, if I didn't have an agent, I would have never left Texas. And it was more of if I didn't have an agent, I wouldn't have known I was getting screwed over.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that indication was. That's what I caught that minute. But, I'm also a different person when it comes to that. But I digress. You bring these players, and that's basically, what they say. Want to come play John. I wanted John to be my quarterback. Pretty huge. And Trail's going to be, especially the way that BV mentioned using him, and not only on the outside slot, moving him around, moving Trail around allows Satania to move around as well. Man, that should do a really good job of straining opposing defenses this coming season.
Jay, it's crazy because I was told that Gunnar Stockton was a pretty good game quarterback. Mateer had 9 yards less passing in one less game. He was right in the middle of the pack. And so I know we still hearken back to Jalen, Baker, Kyler, and Sam Bradford as a Sooner fan. So when we think about the quarterback play, that's the bar that we still hold. Mateer had a really good year. Were there a lot of issues with Mateer, especially post-injury? 100% injury. But when the players, you've got recruits saying, one of the big reasons why I came here was John Mateer. When the transfers say, one of the big reasons why I came here was John Mateer. Like, he has some leadership. I mean, it showed a lot for him to go out there, just absolutely just beat up and trying to, will it. I mean, Texas game, you saw him completely probably not supposed to be out there at all, and he was trying his best just to make anything happen. Mistakes came. The last 3 games of the season, guys started throwing for 300 yards. It looked great. Now, again, you gotta decrease the mistakes. But I really think that by the end of the year, this coming year, we're all going to be, man. Now I hope that Bo Bentley can, replicate what John did this past year. I really do think that, and I think that we talked a little bit about it because Stoya brought it up with the usage rate and the production rate. John Mateer was super heavily relied upon last year, and now you get him some help. You see it in any other sport where the massive amount of scoring on basketball is on one guy's shoulders. Eventually, that's going to fizzle out. Same thing with John. He's going to have a better offensive line, better tackles. He's going to have better tight ends. He's going to have more capable receivers. And that's no shot at Deion Burks, because I don't want him coming after me, because I think he would kick the living hell out of me based off of Built for This video. But he is going to have to make the plays, and that's on him. But I do think that he's here. There was the questions of going from the Mountain West to the SEC, and now we get to see him in his second year. He's going to do better this year. I mean, I could almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I know everybody keeps saying the same platitude over and over. Mateer needs to play better. I think he knows that. I think we all know that. That's kind of the expectation when you had your quarterback having to do everything, because you were dealing with a bunch of injured running backs, and just, you had other backs that just weren't able to really contribute. We know this. That's kind of we expect that. That's the reason why he's working out. That's the reason why he was out there throwing today on pro day, and he looked pretty good out there for me. He was hitting his receivers in stride. He's hitting them on the go. That deep pass he threw to Burks, perfect. So to me, the key thing is that the newcomers came here because they wanted to play with John. So to me, that's 100% the excitement that I have is that, okay, and they train together. They're training. They're working out. They're working on their timing. They're getting all that stuff down, which the biggest challenge on that is really repetitions. The more reps you do, the faster they'll get into those rhythms. And that's the only thing that matters. And so besides that, I love listening to Hayden Henson really talk about the run game. You got some, you have your tight ends pointing out, look, if you want to have a really good run game, tight ends got to be heavy contributors there. And that's what he said. That's what I'm here for. Here to be that big time contributor in that run game. And so when I look at that, I'm like, if you play Emarion Harris with him at that right tackle spot, that's 2 6'7" dudes, 1 300, 1 280 right there as a wall. Like, that's going to be tough to get past. And if you get both of them to pull, because we know Hayden Henson can move, hey, man, that's a lot of that's a wall to try to get through. And I've seen Hayden block. He can block.
Yeah.
But knowing that that's the thing, he said, hey, just keep your eyes open. This run game is going to be a lot different because he knows just how important it is at tight end to contribute to that.
And everybody talks about the backside, that blind side tackle, your left tackle, where Fasusi played, as being very, very big because you're going to have, you obviously don't want to get just blasted in the back, which we saw, R. Mason Thomas affect a lot of different quarterbacks. And so did Taylor Wine. But John had that right side, which was a little bit of a revolving door, and with no legitimate tight end blocking out there, or when you did see a tight end, you just watched a linebacker or defensive end just completely swim him and get in his face. It rushed John up quite a bit. I also think, Jay, that John came in right super early winter, like January, no spring game, so you had that situation happen. There's not going to be that gap this year. So it was as soon as the Bama game was over, you got your week, and then he got back to work with some of his guys as soon as the receivers came in. There's going to be a lot of value in that. And then also it's implementation. It's not, you're going to do what you did last year, and you're going to have a lot more of that. John's not going to have the broken wrist to deal with. Hopefully the knee is, back and ready to go. All those portions, you're going to have, the full slate of time for him and these receivers to really get on the same page. And he's going to have the safety blanket with Satania. And that's going to be the thing that he can always rely on. But the spring game, I think, is going to be a bigger deal than I think a lot of people imagine, because as soon as they get out there, and what are we, 12, 13 days away from spring practice starting?
Yep.
But as soon as that kicks off, that's going to be great. Your 2 6'7" guys, like you mentioned, I think that's going to be really, really big for him too, because John is going to be able to drop back, and then instead of guys being, right in his face, he's going to have 3 or 4 yards, and he's going to have some more comfort.
Yep.
Plus you add in the run game.
Exactly. Speaking of spring game, sounds like it's going to be an actual game. So that's how big of a deal it's going to be. You're going to have them doing they'll probably do enough to keep it very entertaining, but they probably won't go too hard. I mean, you got to remember, you don't have a spring portal. There's guys still in the portal that they could go pick up if they need some additional bodies, but you ain't got a portal right now. So you want to make sure that you take care of, and you make sure your guys are as healthy as possible. And Deland McCullough actually talked about that too. He talked about that in one of his interviews of how he likes to have a prescription for his guys, and make sure that the upper end guys, they're taken care of, and the guys are getting development along the way, which is a big deal. They're saying everything you want to hear. Now we need to see them go out there and actually execute on that. Bo Bentley talked about, of course, John. Emarion Harris talked about wanting to protect John, and Marion comes in with 24 something snaps, and was that Green quarterback that was at Arkansas was cooking. That dude was just ridiculously athletic and was balling. But we know that the quarterback room's got some work. And I did a preview of the room a couple weeks ago, find it here on the channel, when I did my room previews. And I went through each quarterback that's going to be in the room and how they'll be able to contribute. But in about 2 weeks, we start hearing about practice because there's spring break next week. And after spring break is when they'll begin actual practices, putting on pads, 7-on-7s, and all of that stuff. We're about to get back to football time, which I'm so excited. 'Cause I'm ready to hear about some other players. Speaking of that, BV did give us a little injury update. And I don't know how I feel about it as of yet. Let's talk about it. Thank y'all for pulling up. Please hit the like button if you are new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. I know we got a Discord as well. There's a link in the description below. You can come hang out with us. We talk ball in there quite often, and it's pretty active. So got a lot of Sooner fans in there. We post a lot of links. As things happen, we talk about it in there. So feel free to check it out. Link is in the description below. So BV talked about how he's going to give us a full, I think a more in-depth injury update, not next week, but after spring break, the week prior, once everybody's back or whatnot. So we'll get some actual updates of how everybody's doing health-wise. But he did say that Edge PJ Adebawore, who is now a senior, did have a surgery on his foot. And now he didn't say if he was out. He didn't say how long he shelved. It sounds like this happened a while ago. So if that's the case, that means that he's probably going to be back and ready to go. I'm hoping spring ball or this summer.
I would bet that if he's a participant in spring, it is a non-contact participant, which it's okay. I mean, he's a senior now. His know-how is there,
Right.
So he needs to get back to working on his lean and stuff like that. Which, if you got a bum ankle, it's a little hard. And PJ's not a small guy, so got to get that thing ready. But that gives you more Wyatt Gilmore. That gives you more Danny Okoye. A lot of the younger guys to come in here. Kenny Ozawalu, we still not 100% where he's going to play, but I really do envision him getting some inside and outside play on there. But it gives some of the younger guys some more snaps, so I'm kind of okay with that. Saw David Stone, was in a boot and more of a precautionary boot type of a situation, which if you roll an ankle doing anything, they're going to put you in a boot. And last year at this point, we were saying, can David Stone take that step? Fair to say that he took the step. And so I'm really interested. I want to see other guys. Trent Wilson, I want to see him take a step. I want to see Nigel Smith taking a step. So if he has to miss, a little bit of time, or if they're going to play hit precautionary with him, I got no issues with him coming full strength back for fall camp. I feel like there was somebody else that also was. Did he mention somebody else, or is that my imagination?
No, all I heard was him talking about PJ. He talked about PJ. He's the only one that he talked about. We saw Danny. We saw David Stone. Danny Akinkumi. He posted a picture that I guess he had a surgery or whatnot. No update on that, which BV would give us that. Like I said, the first couple days of spring ball, probably in the evening, we'll probably hear exactly what's going on in that circumstance. But yeah, we haven't heard anything official when it comes to what's going on with any of those two. But I think it's all precautionary. I think the Stone is precautionary. That will make sense. Yeah. They anything you step wrong, you got a slight limp, they're gonna slap something on you and say you're gonna protect yourself until spring ball hits. But Stone be fine as long as he didn't have anything that takes him out. Bro, do you really need him for spring? You need to run Kenny Ozawalu. You need Nigel Smith getting reps. Trent needs to get reps. Brendan Harris, James Carrington, Jacob Henry.
Yeah.
You need all your big boys in the middle to get as many reps so that they can get themselves acclimated. But if the only real major one you have is PJ, I mean, that opens the door for not only Daniel Collier, but also Wyatt Gilmore to me.
Yeah.
Get a few guys that's ready to jump in there and get some game. Like I said, Kenny Ozawalu can play inside and out. That's what he said they brought him here for, to play the interior guy or even play edge. And if he's going to play on the edge, I mean, it's a frightening 200
big ass edge.
It's a big edge, man. But hey, if he goes out there and shows up the way that he did when he was at UTSA, I'm okay with it. Feel free, throw that man at edge. It's terrifying. 6'5" dude, ready to take you out. That's good.
There's also, when you're talking about Daniel Akankumi, like how many offensive linemen had shoulder surgery? Logan Howland and Heath Ozida last year, at this time. So now Heath has been able to go through the, spring and winter workouts, get himself a little bit stronger. I know that a couple people are going to probably be really pleasantly surprised to see that there's going to be a battle at that left tackle spot. And I think maybe at both tackle spots, because I think that both EPL and Heath are going to, expect to be a starter. And so getting some of the young guys to continue, I think that Afalava's finally healthy too. So getting him in there. You've got the younger guys. You saw Noah Best got a shout out for some of his workouts and his testing numbers. We still have Deacon Schmidt coming in, who I think eventually will be a guy that's in rotation. So having more offensive line availability this year, I think is really, really, really big. And maybe it's good David Stone's not there to baptize everybody right in the spring.
Yeah. And the good thing is the offensive line is returning a lot of production, a lot of snaps, a lot of chemistry. That's the one thing is when you bring in you have a line, it's in flux. We've dealt with that in flux for 2 years, and the guys that were part of the influx are all gone now. You lose 4 dudes to the portal because they just couldn't stay healthy. It was unfortunate. Yeah. Actually, 5 guys. They kept just not playing. They come in for a little bit and they're gone. And then you get some season-ending injuries. And it was like, all right, then you start playing the young boys and they stay the whole time. Like EPL's out there every game. Fasusi Foger's playing the entire time. When you get Derek Simmons, he plays. When he's not, you got the young pup. So now if you can keep that, if you can do that next season, that will help everything. Plus the tight ends being able to block, being good at blocking. That's important. That's going to be helpful. Like, I don't think y'all understand just how much of it. When Hayden Henson said it, like, Doc, I'm glad you said it because I've said it before. Tight ends contribute heavily to how the run game goes, and that's what they want to do. You're gonna see a lot more running this season than passing. And the good thing is we've got 6 running backs that will be ready to play. As long as they're all healthy. But they'll all be ready to play. Every single one of them, there's no reason for none of them to not play unless it's a season-ending injury. All of them are still young and should be out there on the field regardless.
And let's not get it twisted. When your tight ends are not something that you can count on in the run game, what does that do? Instead of you having the entire offensive line plus tight ends, side to side as an option, it's not like you can bounce it outside and just hope to God that it works out. Like that's not how it works. Like a lot of the reasons why you see an off tackle run is because there's a badass tight end out there blocking for you. If you don't have tight end blocking, or you see, and I say Jaron Kanik, all the guys that were there last year, they gave it their best.
Yeah, Kanik worked his butt off.
Jay, I've tried a lot of things, and the things that I'm not good at, it doesn't look good in the end, kind of like being a podcaster. But you got to understand that with the better tight end blocking, you have more gaps, you have more lanes, you have more stretch capability. That is going to be super key in this. And that's not just Hayden Hansen and Beers. I mean, it is everybody. I'm really excited to see what Trinae Washington looks like. And
yeah, BV said he's 270. And like me and John was kind of going back and forth on it. He's like, it just sounds like that's too big. I'm like, nah, I need him to be at 280. I need him to play at 270, 265, 270. Because, I mean, heck, Jason Witten played at 265, 270. So if you've got Trinae doing that and he still maintains his athleticism, that's all that matters. But him at 270, excuse me, really going to be a good contributor in the blocking game. It's a big boy. He's already super athletic, uber athletic. He gets his technique down for blocking again. He's going to be out there playing at the size that Jason Witten played as a pro. Hey man, we may have stumbled on something special. Just add him with the other three. Like, I'm not sure about K. McIntyre. I haven't heard much about him or even John Locke. And John Locke's a bigger guy. But yeah, Trinae with Van Dorselaer and Hansen and Beers. Yeah.
And then
I'll take
which of the freshmen tight end had surgery and may not be available?
I think that's
was it Mix?
I think Mix. It's Mix because Ruxer's from Indiana. So no, he's good. It's Mix. Ryder Mix is the one, if I'm correct, that had surgery. I think he got hurt at the end of the season in high school.
I would love to see one of those guys take up and do something, but I would also rather say, hey guys, between the four that we got out here, like, we're gravy. And if we need to pivot to somebody else, we can. But I mean, having four tight ends that you feel pretty confident in. I mean, having three tight ends is great, but if Trinae continues to get big and you mix that athleticism, because I mean, he's a freak athlete. I mean, he was very, very good at basketball, very, very good at football.
Yeah, and his build wise, his
270.
Build, right. His build he always had a muscular build, right? Yeah. Playing both sides of the ball like he did. So all you got to do is make sure that he keeps it's good weight, like it's muscle weight. Maybe, like I said, push him up to like 280 season time. He's playing between 265 and 70.
Yeah.
We can go with a all tight end set. That'd be fun. Heck, you can bounce him out. Him and Beers are the ones that you really could bounce to, and Van Dorselaer, actually. You can put them in the slot. They'd be a problem.
I like to see a couple 6'6", 6'7" guys out there, looking to catch the ball in the middle of the field and just gang tackling them, or in the red zone. I'm 100% okay with that.
Yep. 100%. Sign me up. Like I said, Trinae Washington's a pretty nice sized kid, and I'm just ready for him to show up. That's the one player I was excited about when BV said that to 270. Everybody got excited. I'm like, word? Kid can be something. And Deland McCullough talked about it as well. Getting back to the fundamentals at the running back room, which it's a good thing. Hitting the holes, hitting the proper holes, going to proper gaps, being good. He even praised Dez Walker, true freshman, on his blocking ability, his pass pro. Look, man, if you want to play as a freshman, be good at pass pro.
You just don't be a liability at pass pro. And he's, we're really excited about Hatton, but we're hearing quite a bit about Zephan Walker, and I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely okay with both those guys coming in and just absolutely demanding that they're on the field. And pass pro is going to be your key to get in there.
Yep. Yeah, get you on the field very quickly. That's what got certain players pulled off the field. Let's just put it that way. But Trinae being at that size, though, that's got me overly excited. Witten talked about coming to Oklahoma because it's Oklahoma. Shout out Jason Witten. He understood the assignment. It's Oklahoma. I mean, yeah. Why not? And he wanted to get into coaching at the collegiate level and had numerous talks with BV and them, and here you are. Now, Nagy had some things to say too, and a few folks took a lot of things he said um, to heart. And the one thing I appreciated him really diving into was the staff's ability to retain players. The focus on creating a relational culture, not really being transactional. I'm not sure if y'all noticed that, but that's truly been showing with a lot of the players we have. That's huge.
Well, start with retention. I mean, Satania could have said, I had a really good year here, guys. I'm just going to test the portal out and see what happens. Right. Satania would have got double the money that he got to stay here.
Yeah, if he hit the portal. So many people would have paid him just to pay him.
And not to mention, dudes have been trying to pull Jaden Jackson off the team since spring practice last year. Yep. And David Stone, Miami was always going to be in his ear. So you said Deland McCullough, and I still go back to what you said a couple weeks ago when, he got hired. Jason Witten too. There is something about the culture, and the culture makes you feel good. You heard about it after the post-recruiting visits here for the Future Freaks weekend. Everybody continues to say it. It's not lip service. It is legitimate. It is the fact that Jason Witten is around DeMarco Murray for the past couple of years. It has nothing to do with his son. It had nothing to do with his son going to college. Cooper could have gone to Tennessee. He could have gone to Texas A&M. He could have gone anywhere. Jason Witten could have got a tight end's job anywhere, but he's been around the program and he knew what to expect from the program. He saw how the culture remained from 6-7 to 10-2. That didn't change. Guys felt good about that. It was real. We in the parents' interviews, you guys have heard it. And so same thing with Deland McCullough. Both of his kids were here. Both of his kids were asked to, maybe you can go somewhere else if you want to, get a better opportunity. He saw what it was like around here. And so that goes into the retention. It goes into the conversations, the trust between the coaching staff and the recruiting staff. Guys like Lake Dawson, guys like Jim Nagy, like that. It is an absolute real situation that the coaches are happier because they're getting help from the recruiting staff. The recruiting staff is happy because they have the buy-in from the coaches. The players are happy and they want to be here. They see what's going on. And so you're going to have all over the place when it's competitive and there's money involved and there's all these things going on. There's a mental war going on every single practice, every single workout between guys because every single dude came here to play. And it's hard to have a good attitude and a smile on your face when you're the number 3 running back or number 5 running back. And only the culture and the fit is going to be why you stick around. And you just are going to continue to see that. And so when Nagy brings up the culture and Nagy brings up everybody wanting to stick around and now the coaching staff is taking care of the players, like they're real with them and they keep it a buck and they keep those guys coming because if you're Daniel Adekun-Kumi, I mean, you're in year 3 and you've seen couple snaps.
Gotta be healthy in order to play. But I'll say that with Nagy, I think I like how he really pointed out we took the year to really just get everything established. We established our foundation. We established the culture. We started to build all of that stuff, and here we are. We're now ready. Well, you're seeing the fruits of that labor, and that even goes to this recruiting class. You're starting with the top class, and it's funny. He said that it was quoted that he said winning the off season, and even though he said within the off season, and he transitioned to another topic, so he clarified that in the tweet to get everybody's attention. So got to give him crap about winning the off season because that's what he said to me when I interviewed him at SEC Media Days. That fans just want to win the off season, and then when he said that, I'm like, bro, they don't line up with what you. Oh, okay, that was taken wrong. Okay, got it. I'm gonna give him crap when I possibly if I see him this year because that was actually pretty funny. I was like, yeah, that's not lined up to anything that we were saying before. But No, the right now the off season they're going well, and it feels good. He talked about making the playoffs helps with that. He talked about
Very
how
much.
their message in December was focus on the playoff goals, focus on that game, and we'll address all your retention and take care of you. Because again, a retention is just as expensive, if not more, than acquisition. You, when your players produce, that was the one thing Nagy said. We don't negotiate during the season, but once the season's over, we take care of those that are producing. Isn't that what y'all want? Ain't that what we want? We want to make sure that we're taking care of the players that have been putting up the numbers, and then just need them to go repeat it again before they head off to the league. Yeah.
You know,
And that's exactly the philosophy they've built here at Oklahoma.
And you see a lot of that to where, I mean, if you're a baseball fan, if you're a basketball fan, a football fan, just in general, like you see a lot to where people will have a great postseason or a great tournament run, and then it doesn't line up with the rest of the year. Like it's better to have that conversation at the end of the year so you can look at the macro instead of the micro time. Like how many of our guys, if you said Deion Burks needs to get paid based off of his first game of the year 2 years ago, dude would have been the highest paid receiver in college football because he had 3 touchdowns. But you look at the entirety of it and you can have a better conversation around it. If you establish that up front, guys are going to continue to push game in and game out and want to get back and want to get more. And so, listen, our friends down south are always winning the off season. They're always winning those things. But I would rather win December and beyond.
Yeah,
that's
the focal point is to win between September 5th and February 1st. That's where you want to win. And if we keep this up, there's a very good chance that we will. The team is building itself to be sustainable long term too. Like I saw that a scout was mentioning that he thinks that Oklahoma has a chance of having 3 first-rounders on the defensive line. The last time Brent Venables had 3 players get drafted in the first round, defensive players drafted in the first round, was 3 defensive linemen at Clemson, 2018, from the 2018 team, and they won the national championship that year. They beat Alabama 44-16. Just saying. He's done this before. He's built them up, got them to that point. That was their second natty too. So he had the luxury of recruiting more outstanding players at that position because he'd already seen a whole bunch of success. But the last time, like I said, he did that. And I could see Wine, I could see Stone, I could see Jaden Jackson, all of them leaving early, possibly going pro. Like me and John was talking about it this morning on Locked On. He's like, I want them to come back. That'd be great. And I'm just like, if they're listed as first round locks, get out of here.
No,
that means that you produced like you were supposed to during the season. Get out of here. We should be holding up hardware, hopefully some sort of hardware at that point. At least the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I mean, if 75% of your starting defensive line gets drafted in the first round, there's not many excuses, right? Unless your secondary is doo-doo, and I just don't think that that's the case. So, but also, listen, we all want them to come back because who's the next crew? We haven't seen what the next set of guys, but I promise you this is you'll feel a lot more comfortable if Kenny Ozawalu and Nigel Smith and, Brian Harris, Trent Wilson, if those guys, take those jumps and start showing that capability. Yeah, I think that you're going to feel much better about that because, I mean, I will say, I mean, outside of injuries and knock on wood that doesn't happen, I mean, those 3 guys are probably going to be in that conversation. But I also say if you are a sophomore or junior and you're on a team that's, a little bit on the struggle bus and you want to get developed, that transfer portal is going to kind of come up, pretty hot too. And so that's why you recruit guys like Brian Harris who are going to come in and give it their all. So getting out in front of the skis here, but it's there's a lot to be said, because I can promise you Taylor Wine also got a lot of DMs from Tennessee folks wanting him to come back home, and he's here. I mean, now he's the leader of that defensive edge room.
Mm-hmm. He ain't gonna leave. That's the good thing, is he ain't trying to go nowhere. He knows he's in charge. He is the R. Mason Thomas for this season. He took over for R. Mason when he was hurt, and we did not even feel we didn't feel a drop off. Right? Like, we felt the same consistency that we were hoping that R. Mason was going to produce in that Tennessee game, in that Alabama game, and then all the way through for the rest of the year. You got that against Missouri, you got against LSU. Taylor Wine was everywhere. So him, and then of course with Jaden Jackson filling up the middle and taking advantage of the fact that the pressure is closing in on the quarterback from the edges, and they got to move up. And he's right there in their face getting a hit. Stone, same way. The D-line is going to be great. The D-line I expect to be great. I expect it to maintain its level. Like, something is going to be a drop-off. You lose Dom, yes. You lose Grayson, yes. It's going to be struggles. I think Azawalu comes in with that. I think Nigel Smith shows up. That's your second right there. And I think Trent Wilson gives you a third guy that's ready to rotate with everybody else. It's 5 dudes right there. Marcus Strong was supposed to have been that guy, but I ain't tripping. I like Azawalu because I like the fact that he can play both edge and interior. Nigel Smith technically can both play edge and interior. We got a lot of stuff to break down in spring ball about what players can do what. So we'll definitely do that very soon. Speaking of guys going pro, one player, the pro numbers look good. I guess Owen Heineke's talking about trying to come back again. Let's talk about that. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. Make sure you find us on the audio side. And that way, if you want to just listen to us on the road, we are available. Apple, Spotify, you name it. Spreaker, we're out there. Check us out. We are definitely floating around that atmosphere. But with that being said, both Nagy as well as even Owen Heineke mentioned that they are looking that the team may sue the NCAA on his behalf to try to get him that extra year eligibility. But it truly does sound like there's a lot of teams actually interested in him in the late day 2, day 3 pick. So to me, go to NFL. That would be a good idea.
Is it wrong of me to think that this is kind of like when you're wearing out the official for something that you really don't want to take a stand on, but you're kind of just positioning yourself for that next opportunity?
Mm-hmm.
And Jay, what is the profession of one Roger Denning?
Lawyer.
So I got to feel that he kind of knows what buttons to push. And again, I don't think Owen's coming back. We've been saying that since early January that that's probably not happening. I don't know if at this point, if it did happen, he would come back. If he won the case, I still think he goes to the NFL.
Same. It just feels like it. I don't know if it makes sense to come back, right?
I think Owen is the only thing that he could benefit from coming back is obviously just more film. But dude just came back, and I mean he went from a unknown, and I think Gabe and Teddy said it. It's maybe Teddy that said, if he came back here, like he would be very, very much talked about with a lot of preseason all SEC honors and stuff like that. He would probably be on the Butkus watch list before the season. But I mean, if you watch the combine, there was a lot of guys that were, watching him very, very, very intently. And he cut his teeth at special teams, and that's how he's going to have to do it, especially if you're like a round 5 guy. You're going to have to come in and be able to go on special teams because they're going to have the backup linebackers playing that spot. I don't expect him to come back, and I expect him. I bet this year we'll hear more than a few times him making big time special teams plays.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, he came in at 6'1", 229. He if he came back, he'd probably get himself up to playing weight at closer to 240. Get about 10, 11 pounds more on his frame. But he's got the frame to add more of that weight. So that's not something I think he'll play at 235 easy. So that's not a concern for me whatsoever. But that's probably the where he would look at if he did. Now that 40 time, he's a 4.62. Need to get that down a little bit. But his shuttle at a 4.25, one of the better times, it's pretty good in the shuttle. He's very quick, so I think that matters more than anything. 3 cone at like 7.15. So we'll see, but yeah, I think he'll get a good enough grade to where he can go ahead and take that. Got to say, Jaden Ivey was out there impressive, and he spoke about everything.
He did.
How he was not very healthy, and he spoke very well. Like they spoke very highly of Oklahoma. Spoke very highly of the team, and Team 132. He just wasn't healthy, and that's why he didn't really play. Kind of get it. Sucks.
And
but goodness, his testing numbers are stupid good.
I mentioned this in the past, like when I first went into the managerial side of things. Had issues with other people, other leadership in the organization I was at. And one of my direct leaders, who was my boss, said, I understand that you've got issues with this person. And he's like, but when you complain about people are kind of split and you're giving them a 50-50 shot. Do I believe you, or do you just sound like a complainer? And so I think that I was concerned at how is he going to handle those interviews. And I think that he's been instructed very, very well that you need to absolutely just talk about the injuries, say that she kind of had a misfortune there. I love it how he said, they had other guys that were being productive on the field, and, while they were able to be out there. Now, obviously, to us Sooner fans, we know that we had some duct tape and glue going on with some of the running back room towards the end of the season, and maybe that's not the case. But it sounds like the coaching staff, it sounds like Jaden Ott, they all kind of came to an agreement on this is how we're going to handle this. And so it looks good for Oklahoma if the kid still gets drafted. It looks good if he goes on and he does something, and maybe someday he'll come out and say, you know what? No, that season really sucked, and I don't feel like I got a good opportunity. But read between the lines. I think that one of the issues that he had is no longer an issue here at Oklahoma. And he handled himself very, very well.
Yeah, and it could be that the problem with Ott was possibly DM. I would not doubt it. At all. But the good thing is that he said that he felt like he was close to 100% after the Michigan game, but the running backs were doing well. You did see some goodness out of both Rob and Blaylock, so it didn't make sense. And he said he learned life lessons out of it. Right, he may be on the practice squad. And he may have to be a guy that being on the practice squad, he's got to still be able to give 100% just in case he gets called up. So I give him kudos for that. Sucks, but, whatevs. Jimmy, yes. Kendall Daniels did run his 40. Kendall Daniels ran a 4.75. 4.75 on his shuttle at 4.32. He didn't hit as high as we would have liked, but, hey. His on-the-field speeds, I think, is a lot better. That matters. But for Betchy Wewu, man, he made him some money with his numbers itself. G-Baby looked good. Overall, Marvin Jones Jr., he ran a 4.69. Not too bad.
There's going to be...
Keontez Lewis had a 10.3 broad jump. Sheesh. 34-inch vertical. I mean, it's not Burks who had a freaking 42-inch vertical. My knee hurts thinking about that.
Burks, everything about Burks was obviously the guy made himself some money. G-Baby made himself some money. You get the production on the tape for a lot of these guys. I'm interested in guys like Kendall Daniels. When you had the freaks from Ohio State running 4.3s and 4.4s, even at linebacker, like that's kind of a tough pill to swallow. But Kendall Daniels is going to be a big body, a big athletic body. There's a lot that you can do with him. I'll just say this: it's good to have Jim Nagy as a guy that's making calls on your behalf, and I think that we'll see some guys get drafted in the later side of things. A lot of teams got compensatory picks this year for not signing guys, and so maybe see one of those 6th round, 7th round compensatory picks is where we'll probably see guys like Kendall Daniels go. Maybe Marvin Jones Jr. I think that he's got some positivity towards his numbers, and obviously he looks the part. So people are going to look for somebody who can blitz the quarterback and rush the quarterback, and if you can do that and do something with the run game too. I mean, both those guys. There's a lot of highlights that Kendall Daniels has, which are going to be seen by a lot of GMs.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just go out there, keep busting your tail. I don't know. I'm proud of how everybody performed, and I'm proud of how the players supported each other too. Kind of made you feel good, right? It's kind of feel good moment of how they did things out there.
What did they say? They had 70 scouts. Every single team was represented. Saw the chat talk about it. You saw, let's see, you're saying Bradford, Lane Johnson, Roy Williams was out there, Cody Ford. I mean, there were a lot of guys out there. And, Stoya made a comment that, it'd be more interesting since John Mateer was throwing. I think that he just meant that it's just something else to watch. But I can promise you, there was a lot of guys taking note of what John Mateer was and seeing how healthy he was. They're looking forward. I'm pretty sure that's why David Stone is out there too, because a lot of people wanted to have conversations and see him. What does he look like up front? So this is good. Jim Nagy knows how to run this game. I mean, he has done it from the Senior Bowl perspective. He's done it at Seattle and New England.
Yep.
And so there were guys out there. Everybody out there had a purpose to be out there. And I think that bringing guys like Lane Johnson out there, bringing guys like Sam Bradford, these are all guys that the NFL GMs know about. And you kind of remind you of what Oklahoma has produced in years past. All-American and All-Pro safety, probably the best right tackle in the league for a long time. Another number 1 pick in Sam Bradford. So it's good. And was it last year? We're talking about our 4 guys that were invited to the combine, or 3 guys, something like that.
Yeah.
So getting the amount of guys that we had out there, then having that long list of people working out, it's good for the university.
Very good. That's the thing that, thank goodness, definitely needed. But yeah, all the support and everybody out there, it was good. Keontez Lewis, like I said, he did a 10-3 broad jump. He looked good in his routes. He looked good in his catches. He's probably going to get some looks. He's going to garner a lot of looks, a lot more looks than probably people anticipate. I'm here for it. Chuck, ain't nobody scared. You crazy if you say I'm scared. Ain't nothing scared. I'm happy at the fact that I ain't got no reason to be scared whatsoever. I just ain't got no reason to dog on nobody. There's no value in it. No value in beating somebody up more than I have to. But I digress on that. Who else jumped out to you on the pro day?
I mean, I think we pretty much covered them. Yeah, I think that's done. I'm really, really interested to see where Fabici gets drafted. I think that he graded out as the top, right guard in college football in a lot of statistics. And we don't forget, there's a lot of weight to guys who coached by Bill Bedenbaugh, and you're always one guy away from putting out some joker that doesn't need to be out there. I mean, ask the Kansas City Chiefs how excited they are that their offensive line was, struggle bus last year. And I think I heard on the Tulsa Animal, Jerry Ostrowski, who obviously big offensive lineman, played Buffalo Bills from Tulsa. He was talking about how, they got 2 of their 5 spots pretty much locked down with Creed and I believe one of the guards. they're looking for more guys, and they're going to continue. And Andy Reid loves some Bill Bedenbaugh guys. So I like to see Fabici go to Kansas City maybe. And I know that nobody wants to hear that to watch more Patrick Mahomes, but when guys are doing well on the offensive line, that's good for us.
It is. It's very good. It's good publicity.
Yeah. Orlando Brown just got the extension.
Got that contract extension. Got that money for Orlando, and he got it. He did it himself without an agent. He said. So he did that himself, which is like that's what I'm talking about. Went there and got all his monies. Few of them did that. Can't even argue it, man. So, all right, well, let's get on up out of here. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. We'll talk about. We'll get back together the week of. We'll take spring break off. Enjoy your times. We'll be back the week of spring ball. We'll start looking at all the position groups. May as well drop into all of them. So we'll catch each and every single one of y'all on the next, I don't know, week. Enjoy y'all's break. Peace.